What's going on, Geekdom? It's me, the Artisan MC. Hopefully, you can see me clearly. I was trying to use the music to get through this bad internet service area, but of course traffic is not working with time. So you lose me or you get a delay, that's what it is. So how are we all doing today? It's Friday, done with work. It's hot, at least where I am, 91. I got the AC on, and I want a beer for some reason. What's up, Captain Picard? Yeah, werewolf by night. Kind of rock with the half breeds though. I kind of rock with the half breeds. You know, the day walkers. Roll with the day walkers. This is what I'm doing right now. Walking through the daytime, trying to get back to the night where I can recharge my powers. No, I don't glitter in the daylight. That's sweating, and that's glistening. It's glistening. I was going to go to the movies and see Amsterdam. It came out today. I last night today, Super Mario Brothers won the That's a Big video. Will Smith. So I figured tonight, maybe see how I feel by the time I get home. Maybe I'll buy some beer and kick back and watch Werewolf by Night. Not sure about the beer part, but positive on the Werewolf by Night. It's either going to be that or I'm just going to go ahead and go to the movie theaters and watch Amsterdam. But how y'all doing tonight? What's up, No One? See the package man in here. The VC Realm, peace to you. Says you're watching Werewolf by Night right now. Good, VC Realm. So when we talk about it Sunday, I expect to see you there. I like talking with people who saw the stuff. Can actually pull a little bit more out of the conversation. What's up, Artie Inmore? Dope boy in the building. Says you're watching Tekka Man Blade. That's cool. You know I like Techno Man. That was a deep and involving story, dude. The more that show went on, the more I got into the story of what was going on with their family. And I thought his name was Slade, not Blade. His name is Slade. Tekka Man Slade. Because his brother is fuck, the hell was his brother's name? His brother was an asshole. Oh my God. His brother was too much, boy. I was loving him. He came down there and just started wrecking shit. Like, you gotta get on your purpose, homie. You gonna join me. Did this for the family. Captain Picard said he'll be there Sunday. Okay, then watch your Werewolf by Night. Do your prerequisite work, you know. Do your studying. Do your home study. And then when the stream starts, you'll have some intelligence to put in on it because you saw the shit. Watch what like this morning. I don't know what you mean. What's up, Beastly Nerd? Said you watched Werewolf by Night this morning. I'm forgetting some of y'all comments because I'm driving. Sorry. Told y'all before, the fastest stream on the internet with the slowest connection. How does that shit work? I do these streams in my car. I'm usually going about 80. Usually going about 80 to 90. So, given the fact that most people streaming is sitting at home, I got the fastest going stream on the internet. But I usually crap out in the middle of the stream, which means the connection is slow. Which means I'm moving faster than the damn connection speed. Stupid. So, interesting little oxymoron there. Yeah, I didn't stay up to watch Werewolf by Night. I was tired. I had some other stuff to do. I had some other videos I wanted to get out. I actually did 3 videos last night, 2 of which I put up today. And then I have one on my phone right now. I need to add some stuff to and get it up there. And then I have one I need to put out at least by tomorrow. So we can count for this week. Shaggy is black in the new Velma cartoon. Yeah, you also heard that Velma is fucking gay now, right? You heard Velma is a lesbian now, right? There's a chick with a short haircut and glasses on and wears sweaters and short skirts. And smart. Gotta be a lesbian, huh? Nah, she couldn't just be that nerdy, dirty girl that somebody would want to get out with. Nah, now she's a lesbian. Apparently, they announced that themselves. I guess it was Hanna-Barbera, whoever the fuck. Yeah, Velma's a lesbian. What? The fuck we need that for? What up, AB? Beaming in. I saw you sent me an email, AB, about the Super Mario Brothers stuff. But I was already seeing Mario's booty and face popping up all over the internet, and I was like, oh shit, I saw that first. So I went to watch the trailer before even seeing your email. So sorry about that there. Yeah, Velma can get it all day. A little sweater. Look, man, I am a happy car-carrying lesbian. And even some C cups behind a nice little sweater look cute as fuck to me. Just little bees, little buddies. I don't give a shit. Cute. I never liked, what's her name? That other bitch. See, I can't even think of her fucking name. That was in the Scooby-Doo. I never liked her. Velma was always the one, though, because she was into the shit with him. And if you want to be gross about it, why you like a girl that wears glasses? Because objects in the mirror are always bigger. Just say it. Get to play blind man's bluff or something like that. Take your glasses from her and let her feel it out. Kind of like Daredevil banging She-Hulk. He's had to feel his way around it. He'll find it. Got that good hearing. Sound like a fucking echo, don't it? Damn, I hate my nose start itching when I'm on stream. So yeah, Velma could always get it. The other bitch, I never cared about. Even as a little kid, I never cared about her ass at all. I think just because of that, I'm gonna put Velma fucking twerking back on my thing. Oh no, it's on here. It's on here. That's right. I forgot. I'm actually on StreamYard right now. So let's do this one time with the thick thighs and short skirts. Let's give it up for Velma.
Get your booty to the pole, 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 yeah.
Did we get your attention? Good. Get your booty to the pole.
Get your booty to the pole.
Get your booty to the pole.
Get your to the pole. Get your booty 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 to the pole. Get your booty.
There go Velma, mixing it up in the bedroom. Just getting it in. Let's give it up for the short skirts and sweaters. The glasses. I like them. Dirty and dirty. Anyway, what did Art say? He said he only acknowledged Pornhub. Thelma, you stupid as shit. Thelma, you only acknowledge that, Thelma. That's probably why they made her lesbian, fool. Sick ass. Fools like you. Why they made her lesbian. They want to take that shit back. No, everything they want to take from men, start putting women in it, including Velma's cooch. Touched by no man. Yeah, carpet munching. Yeah, they came out and said that. Fuck ever, like I'm not paying attention to that shit. Velma with the good knees. Yeah, she got the good knees. Smart ass. Dude, I love a smart group of women. What the fuck? Velma can rug munch all she wants to. So don't be kissing me. She still likes sausage with your buns. All right, so what else we got? Y'all watching Werewolf by Night already. Did you guys actually watch that last episode of She-Hulk? Or this Rings of Propaganda that's on today? Fuck, I got to power through 2 episodes of this shit. And just dreading it already. Like, fucking hit a dragonfly. God damn. I hit a dragonfly going 85. Boy, his brains is still on my windshield. Yuck. Sorry, homie. Said, nope. Oh, what the hell, AB? What the hell? Y'all be making me wonder sometimes. Oh, Mr. Carbon Master, what's up? Yeah, you talking about Todd McFarlane? Yeah, I saw his Instagram post. I was on there. I dropped fire on the shit, too. Let him know. Like, yes, thank you. Right on. I'll be here, dude. Just do it. And he's been serious. He just couldn't find the money. He couldn't get people to sign on for that shit. But look, the way DC fired a bunch of people, they was looking for work. Zaslav came in, cutting shit off. Well, people looking for work. Todd looking for some people. You have ball wheel travel? Get it done. Now, motherfuckers, oh yeah, we'll work on Spawn for you. Yeah. If it's working on Spawn is the difference between your ass eating and being homeless, yeah, I bet you will help now. So no, Todd never stopped working on it. Look, Mr. Carbon, one thing you can know about Todd McFarlane, he is legit an entrepreneur. And I say this from having an actual personal one-to-one conversation with the man. He is an entrepreneur for heart. The fact that it's 2022 And Spawn came out back in 90 what? 90 what? Not 99. Tells you he never gives up on his character. Never. Never, ever. That motherfucker been pushing that character since he made it. That's it. So he ain't gave up on shit. He just wasn't able to find the money. Nobody wanted to give him the money to direct it himself because he's an unknown factor. He's an unknown director. They didn't want to help him do that shit. But he didn't want to give up on what he wanted to do. So he stuck to the shit. But now, look, now he got some people to report. Some shit to report back on. Like, yeah, we got these people signed on. Good. So all those people he mentioned, oh, he worked on Joker, he worked on this thing. Oh, this is Warner Brothers cast off, huh? Motherfuckers didn't make the cut at Warner Brothers. Victims of Zaz. Zaz got that ass. Beastly Nerd said, you saw She-Hulk? Yeah, I did the watch party on that. That's why I haven't put up an actual reaction to it, because I did my reaction right after the watch party. So I don't know if I should cut it in half or just do a second one, because I had some more thoughts. One of which being, I don't think the Daredevil Walk of Shame was bad. I actually found that shit kind of funny. I did. Because it plays into the fact that Daredevil walking from her house in his costume is fucked up, right? He shouldn't have his costume on, but what was he wearing when he got there? So that was odd, right? But in a city where you got the fucking leaping frog and frog man jumping around in costume and a big green bitch walking around just on the streets, I don't think it's going to be a damn surprise with a dude with a red and yellow costume on just walking the streets of LA. Not a surprise anymore, okay? There's actual heroes around that place, right? I mean, Jesus. What is it? Mr. Miracle, not 2 episodes, dove out a high-rise building window onto his face, got up and walked away. I think the people in LA is used to superheroes in costumes walking around now. Just saying. But the other part of it is he's walking outside. Yes, it's a juxtaposition from, you know, girls having to do the walk of shame when they had a dude's house and he didn't want to call him an Uber. Right? Get the fuck out. It's a flip. Well, it's a female show. She ain't gonna walk out her own house doing that shit, so Daredevil's doing it. This is just logic, right? Okay, so he walking holding his boots, right? But he's walking and whistling, right? Like he happy, like, yeah, that shit was good, right? Knock that superhuman cooch out, right? Well, you get back into the interior with Jen walking out there with a little shorts on and shit, sitting on the couch, and she happy and shit. Like, yeah, she just got off a good one, right? When Nikki comes in, what do you see Jen doing? She ain't man spreading because she ain't got no testicles. That girl airing out that cooch. She got them legs cocked open like she missing them. That shit was funny. That means to me, they had a good night. They had a good night. So I'm not worried about him, you know, doing a walk of shame in the morning. He walking proud. He don't give a fuck. He's walking and whistling like, oh, happy day. What's that meme with the what's his name? God damn it, I won't forget his name right off the bat. Jesus, I hate getting old. Leonardo DiCaprio, that meme where he's walking and swinging his hand like he's whistling and shit like that. That's what Daredevil was doing. Coming out She-Hulk house. Like, doo-doo-doo-doo. And let's get the day started. I got a flight. Got to get back to New York. Yeah, I got some of this West Coast green ass. I'm good. Came out here, won a case, stopped some crime, kicked some dudes' asses, and got laid. It was a good trip out to the West Coast for that old Hell's Kitchen boy. Shit, he might come back. I ain't mad about that shit. It was funny to me. It was funny to me. So thank God the writer of this episode was Corey. Thank you for writing this fucking episode because it was actually funny. It was actually funny. Minus the bullshit. So thank you. I didn't think they'd let him in write one of these episodes, but they got one, so I appreciate it. Now, he could be, on the fence, or over the fence. I don't know. Don't matter. That shit was kind of funny. So what else y'all got? Y'all stagnated in the chat. YouTube works on engagement. Don't just stare at the TV. It's somebody actually talking directly to you. Amy talking about. Y'all still on Velma? God damn, catch up. So give your honest opinion on Jamie Foxx. I got very mixed feelings. This new Netflix movie was trash. I still haven't watched that vampire hunting movie with Jamie Foxx. I haven't watched that yet, Mr. Carbon. I'm fine with Jamie Foxx. He's been doing a little goofy shit recently, which means he's still trying to get his money. Listen to me. He got a whole 6-inch fucking muffler coming off of this goddamn truck. Loud for no reason at all. I mean, you really could stuff like a fucking softball up his muffler. It's California, man. So, Jamie Foxx playing Spawn, I'm not too concerned about it because what Todd McFarlane has said, how he wants Spawn to function, right? Spawn is supposed to function like Jaws. He's supposed to be there in the background, but you don't see him a lot. He's just a threat, right? So that dialogue. He might not, right? Okay, fine. But if they lock down a director, that'll be the teller on how much Jamie Foxx you're going to get and how much Al Simmons you're going to get. It's going to depend on the director. If they can lock down like a seasoned director who's actually good with actors, actors respect, then you'll see that Jamie Foxx part tone the fuck down, and you'll just see Spawn, right? If you don't get a director like that, if you get a director that's gonna be all enamored, oh, it's Jamie Foxx, he did Ray and all that shit, you're gonna see Jamie Foxx being fucking Jamie Foxx, and it's not gonna sound right for Spawn at all. It's not. It's not gonna be right for Spawn. So I don't have a problem with Jamie Foxx playing a dark character. I would appreciate him playing a dark character. I would. I want him to see. I'd pay to see Jamie Foxx play one of them mad dog killer types. I would, because he's a comedian, and Jamie Foxx is like a mimic. Dude, he is like a for real deal mimic. I'd pay to see him play a character like that. I would, because I think he'd kill it. I think he'd kill it. He's a phenomenal actor. That impression shit is understanding people and learning how to mimic people. Jamie Foxx was playing a role where he was like the villain in that shit. And he had to be scary and all the rest of that shit. I think people will look at him a hell of a lot different. That's for damn sure. That's for damn sure. You'd be like, God damn, that nigga's scary. No matter how much he smiles. So that's my feelings on Jamie Foxx. I think he can do a good job, but it's going to depend on the director. Beasley say, yeah, Daredevil got one more notch than Luke Cage now. You don't know that. Look, since Luke Cage has not been introduced into the MCU proper yet, his notch count don't count. Doesn't count right now, right? But as soon as you introduce him, as long as they give him the same treatment it looks like they're giving Daredevil, meaning that all that stuff that happened in their show already actually happened. The people here just, it was, passing their notice. They wasn't paying attention to that shit. As soon as you introduce Luke Cage, his notch count come in. That's it. I don't think they running the tally, but shit. As soon as Wolverine show up, it's over. As soon as Wolverine show up, it's over. Motherfucker, 100-something years old. His notch count is there, dude. Look, Wilt Chamberlain was trying to catch up to Logan. That's how that shit go down. So you gotta wait for him to show up. Let's see. Yeah, this was a better episode. Yes, it was. Yeah, thank that writer when you do. There's nothing wrong with saying that She-Hulk had a good episode if it did. If it had a good episode, it had a good episode. But this was a better episode because it wasn't written by the person who wanted the show. That's why I want people to highlight the fact that yes, this was a good episode, and you know why it was good? Because it wasn't written by Jessica Gao. Because that's the main point. Excuse me. That's the main takeaway from that shit. It was a good episode, but not because it was written by her. It's because it was written by somebody else. So how is a male writer handling this female character better than your ass is? She was actually entertaining. Some of her actual personality came through, I believe, in the character, because one of the things that most people didn't catch is when they're on the roof talking and they're bickering about, how to handle the situation and shit. Daredevil is telling her, just follow my lead. She's like, no, this who has superpowers? This, I'm pointing at myself. He's like, yeah, I got the echolocation, but this is what just follow me. This is what I do. And she's like, no, this is what I do. Is she dancing and shit? That's Tatiana Maslany fucking around, dude. That's her fucking around. That wasn't the She-Hulk character. That was Tatiana Maslany fucking around. And that shit was kind of funny because she was doing her little dance and shit. And I was like, wow, that's funny. That was kind of funny. It was. Look, I don't have a problem with admitting the shit when it's actually funny. I just want it to be actually funny. If it's not actually funny, I'm not gonna play up to you and kiss your ass and use roses. No, it's not. It's garbage. Hanging back, Explorer. Let's see. Let's test it out. Let's test the theory. Let's test the theory. Weird white folks. I had to give me one of those. So everybody will think I'm driving a fucking cop. So yeah, she was fun. She was fun in that shit. What else we got? Jamie Foxx was garbage Electro. Not really. Look, man, if Jamie Foxx was garbage as Electro, blame the material. Blame the material. I mean, we all saw like Amazing Spider-Man 2, right? You blaming him for that movie? Because that's the Electro that came over to the MCU was that Electro from Amazing Spider-Man 2. So he's still playing the same character with a little bit of a switch up. The only thing I was upset about is that they They kind of pulled Electro's intelligence a little bit. That he didn't get to show it. You got all those Spider-Man villains there, and you realize that all Spider-Man's villains are actually scientists and shit. They're all smart. Electro was the one that was just not showing a lot of his. That's the only thing that got me about it. But fuck, they painted themselves into a corner when they cast the Black Electro anyway. But as long as he can actually play the damn role and you got some good material, then it is what it is. Other than that, fuck you blaming him for? He was just in the movie. He didn't make it. We need hardcore actors, not comedians. For Spawn, here's the thing about your statement right there, Mr. Carbon. Comedians. Okay, here's the question. I'll pose it to everybody else. Here's the question, but make it like a learning exercise. Why do really good comedians do so awesome when they flip into acting? Why do really good comedians become really good actors? Why? Reason being is comedians are in touch with the human experience because they live it. Comedians usually have fucked up lives. They've actually lived some fucking life and had some experiences that drove them to comedy. Even seasoned actors rarely want to get on stage and do stand-up comedy. It's a harder job. It is a completely different discipline. It is an art. It is. You can't take an awesome actor and throw his ass up on the stage and think he gonna kill his 10-minute set for comedy. Fuck no. He won't make it out of amateur night. You don't think so? Why do you think Mike Epps had to go back and work on his stand-up routine? Because he's a comedic actor. He wasn't a stand-up comedian. That came later. Why do you think Tom Hanks, though, is such an awesome actor? Why do you think Robin Williams is such an awesome actor? Because those were comedians first. Those were stand-up, cut their teeth, stand-up comedians first. Then they got into acting. And then when they acted, they fucking killed it. You know why? Because they are pulling on something more than just, well, I went to acting school and it told us how to do these things and how to do the method. No, they didn't do all that shit. They actually lived fucking life and went through that shit and then brought that to their comedic routine. So when they get into acting and they understand, well, you have to play a character that did this, they're already pulling on themselves. They're pulling on their life experience already. They got it. The really great comedians deal with all kinds of fucking people. All kinds of people. That's why they always tend to be a little really liberal, because they have to play to different fucking crowds. It's not just, I'm just telling jokes for black folks. I'm just telling jokes for white folks. I'm just telling jokes for heterosexual people. I'm just telling jokes for homosexual people. That's not what it is. Comedians have to tell jokes to everybody. The really good ones. And they have to take all that experience, wrap it together into themselves to tell their fucking comedy. That's why they end up being better actors. But that's just my opinion. I need hardcore people who've actually lived life to bring their experience to that whatever role they're playing. Like, you want a perfect example? I believe, was it one of the writers on this She-Hulk show was supposed to have been a stand-up comedian? No, the fuck you weren't. If you were, you were bombing every night because you suck. Most of your really funny shows, comedic shows like The Office and shit, they're written by comedians. Those are the people in the writing room writing this shit. They know what funny is, and they know what funny ain't. Good ones do. Those are the ones who can actually write for a show and then get up and do their stand-up, kill it, and then go back to writing for a fucking show. That's how they make a living if they don't want to have their ass out on the road all the damn time. But that's just my opinion. What did Beasley say? You saw the lawyer shit too? Yes. Beasley about She-Hulk, Matt Murdock actually showing up in the damn courtroom and actually doing some lawyer shit. Yeah. How he come into one episode sound more like a lawyer than this chicken ate. What, you did that? Holy cow, you don't even get the information from your fucking... Look, man. The times that this character, She-Hulk character, has showed up in the courtroom, she always getting surprised by some shit that she didn't know. How the hell you win the Lawyer of the Year and you getting surprised in the very same episode about some shit, some information you couldn't even get from your fucking client, which was obvious. Excuse me. You didn't even bother to ask? No. But he come in there with a little bit of a sniff and figured it out. Yeah, he had the edge with a superpower, but look, if you ever been around jet fuel, it has a distinct smell. You don't got to be super powered to smell it. You just have to use your fucking nose. Or I should say, just not have your head stuck up your ass. And then you can smell it a lot better. Oh, I ain't even gonna get no goddamn beer. I guess it's gonna be hard alcohol tonight. Alrighty, let's see. Mr. Carvin said, and fuck Marvel. I believe Marvel, they disenfranchised Wesley Snipes. I'm not gonna say that because if you know the story about Mahershala Ali and the Blade character, Mahershala Ali went and talked to Wesley Snipes. He went and talked to Wesley Snipes and asked him about doing the character. And Wesley gave him the green light to go ahead and do that shit. Because Mahershala Ali wanted to put that character back out there. Because remember, it's Kevin Feige's story. Mahershala Ali won his Oscar or whatever for Green Book or Moonlight or whatever the fuck it was. And he called Kevin Feige and set a meeting with Kevin Feige to come talk to him. And when he came to talk to Kevin Feige, he told him that was the character that he wanted to do. He wanted to do a Blade movie. So it ain't Marvel disenfranchising Wesley Snipes at all. Don't put that shit out there if you can't substantiate it. That's not how that shit happened. All the reason they even start talking about Blade is because Mahershala Ali walked into Feige's office and said he wanted to do Blade. And Kevin Feige, having been in Hollywood for a while, has some respect for a man winning awards. If this motherfucker just won this award, yeah, I'll do a movie with you. You're going to bring me at least a couple $100 million just on the fact that your name is on. After winning I think it was an Oscar? Shit, you don't tell that motherfucker no. You say, hell yeah. Yes, please come do one of our movies and bring the numbers up on that bitch. You trying to retread old history. Wesley Snipes carried Marvel movies on his back. No, he didn't. That's not what Wesley Snipes did. There was no Marvel Entertainment when the Blade movies were made. There wasn't. It was Avi Arad working with New Line Cinemas and the people who did it. What he did was he opened the door for modern Marvel movies. That's what he did. He didn't carry it on his back. He opened the shit up. He showed the shit can work. And he showed it can work by doing something that most people don't like, which is retconning the character. He changed up the Blade character. I was reading the motherfucker before Wesley Snipes ever touched it. Blade didn't look like that. He didn't behave that way. That was Wesley's input in changing that character. And Marvel let his ass do it. Go back and watch the original Blade and see who from Marvel was executive producer on that shit. You won't see Kevin Feige. It was Avi Arad. He let them do what they needed to do with that movie to make it into something. And Wesley made it into something. Plain and simple. So it's not like he carried Marvel. He gave them something that became marketable for them later on. But he didn't know that shit. I wouldn't think he knew that shit at the time he was doing it. He was a black man with a lot of cachet in Hollywood who wanted to do a black superhero. And Blade was the one nobody knew about. He did it. He freaked it his way. And it turned into a fucking hit. Without their hands being on it, no MCU existed, no Marvel Studios, none of that shit existed. And he did that shit before the X-Men, which is why the X-Men blew up the way they did. Because Blade proved that you could have a comic book movie be box office bankable. The one before Blade was Spawn. These are baby steps. Spawn, Blade, X-Men. X-Men gets all the shine because it's coming from Fox. Who is New Line compared to Fox? Nobody. Fox is old Hollywood. That's why X-Men gets so much shine and Blade don't. Smaller studio. That's how that shit broke down. But he freaked that shit. And because of the way Wesley did Blade, they changed him in the comic books to be like that character. That's why that shit will sell. That's it. He made that motherfucker bankable on a character they wasn't thinking shit about. Yeah, What Dreams May Come, one of my favorite movies with Robin Williams. Yeah, Robin Williams is a hell of an actor. You have to actually tell people sometimes that Robin Williams was a stand-up comedian. Because sometimes they don't know that shit. They don't. A lot of these really great actors, you go back and find out they were stand-up comedians. That's what they did first. That's how they cut their teeth and got a chance to get into Hollywood acting and shit like that. That's why I fuck with Tom Hanks. Tom Hanks been acting for a long goddamn time. But you know what he was doing before that? Stand-up comedy. Go back to Bosom Buddies and shit. That was him getting on. Bachelor Party. That's him getting on. I've been rocking with Tom Hanks for a long goddamn time. Same thing with Robin Williams, Whoopi Goldberg, Billy Crystal, fucking Dave Chappelle. Oh, dude, there's so many goddamn comedians who get into acting and kill it that you forget that they was fucking comedians. It's the same thing with some of these damn rappers. You forget that they used to rap, like Will Smith. You forget that shit till he grabbed a mic and started spitting like, oh shit, he did used to rap, didn't he? Yes. And became a hell of a goddamn actor. But you name the actor who left acting and became a hell of anything else. Yeah, I'll wait for that one. Applejack, yeah, no one, Applejack. That's what I think it might be, no one. I think it might be Applejack, but I want to mix it with something because I got invited to play poker tomorrow night and I don't want to be sloppy tonight. And I say sloppy because I haven't drank in a while. I'll have that shit and it'll really fuck with me. BC Nerd said Ali is already on the payroll because his previous Marvel role. Yeah, it's Cottonmouth. He already fucked with them before. They love. Well, here's where that gets tricky. He was fucking with Netflix. It was a Netflix and Marvel joint venture in a sense, but Netflix was the one paying his ass. But he did a hell of a job as Cottonmouth. So him coming directly to Marvel and cutting a deal and a contract with Marvel is different because they already saw what he did for Netflix on that Luke Cage shit. Yeah, they'd be dumb. They'd been dumb as fuck to turn him down. That'd have been the dumbest fucking thing in the world to turn him down. Look, if that motherfucker rolled into the office with his fucking after he won his Oscar and talked to Kevin Feige and said he wanted to do Captain Marvel, but he only wanted to do the black one, I think he would have said yes to that shit too. He would have said yes and found something else for Brie Larson to do. Probably be in Eternals instead of Angelina Jolie. Probably. I'm just, spitballing ideas. Cottonmouth, Luke Cage, no one. Yeah, you got to watch the Luke Cage on Netflix show. Okay, we gonna rehash old history like I don't know shit about Blade now. Wesley Snipes deliberately had a fallout with his Blade 3 movie cast because in an interview he quoted, they were tried to steal his franchise. They made Wesley Snipes the lame sidekick in Blade 3. That wasn't Marvel. Okay. What happened in Blade 3 is Wesley Snipes was going through his shit with the IRS. That's why David S. Goyer became the writer and director on that shit. And it was going in a direction that Wesley didn't want. From all accounts, it's supposed to have been a really difficult shoot because Wesley was being an ass on that motherfucker, which led to him kind of getting blackballed after his IRS problems. So he was partly there, partly not. And that's why you watch some of those scenes. He ain't got much to say. He ain't got much to do in 3, except for the fight scenes, because they couldn't do the fight scenes without him. So there was no Marvel Entertainment at that time, and trying to take his franchise, he was trying to work with Marvel to do Black Panther at that time. That's what he was trying to do. He wanted to do Black Panther next, and they weren't giving it to him. They weren't, because he had already took Blade and made it into something. He wanted Black Panther next, and they didn't give it to him. This is when Marvel was going through their shit with trying to get their shit off the ground. Because best trust and believe, if they were really had some pull, which they didn't, to do that shit, Blade would have been their first movie for the Marvel Studios and not Iron Man. They had no stroke to do that shit. They couldn't take shit. Marvel Studios bet the house on Iron Man #1. They didn't have no stroke. Nigga, they blowing dice and hoping they win. They had to kiss all of somebody else's ass to try to get Robert Downey Jr. on board. Because they was like, oh no, this motherfucker that had all these drug problems and shit? Oh no. Who else you got? Who else you got? No, they didn't have no goddamn stroke like that. Shut up. Art. And that lame sidekick shit, that's David S. Goyer. That's another movie that I blame David S. Goyer for that had a bunch of dumb shit in it, because that's what he does. Working by himself with nobody to control his ass, he does a lot of dumb shit. A lot of dumb shit. And he was sidekicking it in Blade 2, low key. That's where you get Ryan Reynolds coming into action movies, and that's where you got Jessica Biel coming into action movies. They springboarded their action movie careers off of Blade 2. Whistler's daughter. Fuck we need Whistler's daughter for? Or excuse me, that was Trinity. My bad. Take it back. Same thing apply, wrong movie. That was to push them. That's why those characters were thrown in there. They had to whiten that shit up. That's the studio trying to take over the franchise and do what they want to do with it. And that was because the first two movies made so much goddamn money that went to Wesley. And that's why the IRS got on his ass, which I think, personally, I think that was them fucking studio people fucking with him and put the IRS on him. Because he was doing some shit up there where he was doing some other shit that they didn't like on some malicious shit for black folks. And they wasn't having that. So they went and made sure they shut his ass down. Are they eating more Applejack with Applejack? Yeah, you want somebody fucked up. Applejack and apple juice over ice. I do have Applejack. I do have apple juice. I do have ice. Even better, no one. I got whiskey cubes, whiskey stones. Oh yeah, nigga. Oh yeah, that might be it. No one. You might have called it. Call it a night juice box. That might be my night juice box while I sit there and watch Werewolf by Night. Let me find some straws. I need to go buy me some crazy straws. I remember Artisan Marvel had tried to get the Marvel Universe movies started with Eric Bana's Hulk, and it didn't take. Exactly. And that was Universal. That wasn't Marvel. That was Universal. Universal owned that shit. That's why you don't see Marvel saying much about the canon of Ang Lee's Hulk. They don't talk about that because it ain't theirs. That was Universal's deal. They didn't have much stroke in that one. They didn't. And Ang Lee did what the fuck he did. But that next one, that was part of the MCU, oh, they had some stroke on that one, didn't they? Yes. And that's why that version of Hulk came into the Avengers, because they had some control over that. And as far as I'm concerned, it may have looked goofy, but Eric Bana's Hulk was the right version of Hulk from the comic books when it gets bigger, because I've said this many a goddamn times. The only difference really between Eric Bana's Hulk and Edward Norton's Hulk, Eric Bana's Hulk was more accurate to the comics. Edward Norton's Hulk was more accurate to the Incredible Hulk TV show. And that worked better for people. He got to one height, one strength level, that was it. He didn't keep getting bigger. So then you don't have to keep, I guess, CG and bigger bodies and shit. I don't fucking know, more polygons, whatever the fuck. But the one in Ang Lee's movie, Hulk, that motherfucker kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And you saw him jumping 100 miles with one leap. You ain't seen that out of Incredible Hulk or the Hulk in the Avengers now, have you? No. Because it's TV Hulk, Bill Bixby Hulk that you got. Because when they did that Incredible Hulk movie, they focused on the Bill Bixby version of the Hulk because that's the one that worked and made Hulk comics sell. That's the one that worked. So they focused on that. And just so you know how right I am about that, when they tried to pimp you this fucking She-Hulk show early in the trailers, what did they make the trailer kind of look like? That old Bill Bixby Incredible Hulk show. Playing on what works. That's it. They don't even mention that fucking Ang Lee Hulk. So Wesley Snipes is masculine alpha in Blade 2. He deliberately put a stick bomb in Hellboy's head. Yeah. Number 2 was the shit. This is why I tell people, look, comic book movies before 2000, this is how you had to roll with them. Look, you have to watch the first one. The first one is set up for a non-comic book reading audience. You got to get them to understand what's going on and give them a story at the same time. It's tough. You got 2 hours maybe to do that shit in. If they buy into it, that second movie, you can actually have fun with because now you don't have to do all that goddamn setup. And that's what killed comic book movies from the 80s on up to the 2000s is because you couldn't get people invested in the setup. You always had to do so much fucking setup to get the audience to understand who this person is, what their power base is, why they do what they do, that by the time you do all that, half the movie is fucking over. So you got an hour to tell his damn story. The audience wasn't there yet to understand who these characters are and shit. It took some more years. By Blade, by retconning it a little bit, streamlining it a little bit, you got it in that first movie. You understand who he was, what his motivation was, what his powers are, who's his villain, and why is he his villain. And you want to see him kick his ass right off the bat. Right off the bat, you want to see it. When that motherfucker jumped out that window, I remember seeing the trailer for Blade, the first Blade movie, when it came out. And he do that smile and leap out the window and shit like that. I was like, oh shit, hell yeah. That wasn't something that was in Blade before. He didn't have no fucking vampiric powers. No, he was just a regular dude, pissed off and killing things. But that shit right there is like, oh nigga, I gotta see that. My favorite scene from Blade 1 was when they're outside in the sunlight and Deacon Frost is out there and they talking that shit to each other. And Deacon Frost pulls up that little girl and said, watch it, you know, to kill her. And Blade tells him, why do I care? They're all going to die anyway, right? And he pulled out that little MAC-10 and just started busting that Deacon, and Deacon just dipped out the way. That was bullet time before bullet time, nigga. He shook past 3 shots out of automatic pistol at close range and got the fuck out of there, threw that little bitch and bounced. I was like, damn, you got a fight on your hands. Let's get it. Let's get it. I want to see what happens with this. That was Blade. That was a reimagining of that character that worked. It made it contemporary. They didn't have to have a reboot. They rebooted that comic after that shit. To capitalize, he did Marvel a solid because they still use that character that way. Before that, they was drawing that character looking like fucking Mario Van Peebles and shit. Quit it. Always bet on black. Yeah, Passenger 57. Passenger 57 is my shit. People sleep on that shit. They forget about it. They forget about Passenger 57. That was your black, you know, spy and shit. Wesley, that's why I give Wesley a lot of respect, and I give Chadwick a lot of respect, because they always put black characters out there top of their list to do. They use their stardom to do black characters themselves. As big as a star Denzel has, he's never put out a black superhero like that. This is not his lane. It's not. Will Smith at least gave you Hancock because they wasn't giving him no shit. But if Will Smith was actually fucking smart, talk to Marvel and see if they give you Blue Marvel to do. And see, don't that motherfucker blow up. Look at that and say, fuck a slap after that. You could have him slapping somebody like Chris Rock in the movie. Nobody would give a fuck. Have Blue Marvel show up and have it, this obviously will be after Wakanda Forever. Get Namor to show up and have Blue Marvel and Namor have a fight. And let Blue Marvel slap the shit out of Namor like Chris Rock got slapped. Motherfuckers will watch that movie just to see that shit again. Audience. After several Superman and Batman TVs and movies, the audience cannot comprehend. They look, no one in the 80s, no, barely. That's why you have to make the distinction between the geek audience that will be the ones out there in costume to see that shit early, and the regular movie-going audience who just like to go see movies. They don't know shit about none of this. Perfect example is this. You remember when that original G.I. Joe movie came out? The regular movie-going audience got jazzed by the suits and shit like that because it came out after Transformers. So they had dudes in mech suits and running and jumping and all the rest of that goofy shit, right? Which is not G.I. Joe. You know what the comic book fans loved? The fact that they had the goddamn pit. You saw Strato Vipers. You saw some of the comic book accurate shit there. And the movie wasn't really that damn accurate. It was close. That's what you got. The regular audience loved that shit because there was a lot of action and stuff. Oh my God, it was explosions, it was fast paced, it was everything. That ain't really G.I. Joe, nigga. G.I. Joe usually out there with guns and shit. Busting at Cobra. What's the issue? You watch military movies all the time. What the hell? They turned that shit into a toy commercial. So 80s, no. Like the movies, couldn't tell you much about a Superman comic book, even though Superman had been around for what, since the goddamn 40s? Okay. You gotta remember, most of the movie-going audience at that time had grown up on Superman as a comic or radio show, and they always still thought of it as for kids. That's why that first Superman movie was titled "You Will Believe a Man Can Fly," because they wanted to prove that they had to prove it to people that this could work. That's what it was. It was a test to prove it to people. We can do this. This will work. This will work. Somebody was buying that shit before then. Hold on a second. What up, Dr. Anwar? Dr. Goodbar in the building. Is Friday. You got to be Dr. Goodbar now. Put that hat on. The build up, the fight between Deacon. Yeah, Deacon and Blade. Yeah, Deacon had did enough shit that you wanted to see him get his ass kicked. You really did. You really wanted to see him get his ass kicked because he had did enough shit. Deacon was a little asshole. Yeah, so you was waiting for him to catch a Blade. I wish Todd McFarlane owned Blade. If Todd McFarlane owned Blade, put it this way: if Todd McFarlane owned Blade, I think it would look like Todd McFarlane owning Creech. Does anybody read Creech? Does anybody know who the Creech character is? Todd McFarlane got his one, and he pours most of his energy into that one, which is Spawn, which is a black character, which I'm fine with. But all the other characters that Todd McFarlane has created don't get the same shine. There's not even recognized the same way. I think the reasoning is focus. So it's nothing against Todd. It's just, look, for the last 30-odd years, I know Spawn backwards and forwards. I've seen him backwards and forwards, right? All the rest of them characters he created, not as much. Not as much. Barely, right? You don't see them get no shine. Because his thing, his brand is built on Spawn. So you always gonna see Spawn. His brand ain't built on everybody else. He got nobody else. He does, but he don't push them like that. Damn, you're right, AMC. The Blade movies had a very tight script. Yeah, it was pretty tight. It was pretty tight. Dr. Anwar laughing. So that She-Hulk, huh? You like seeing She-Hulk get a little bit of that devil D? She had the devil in her. Boy, they better call Constantine. Doctor Strange. She-Hulk got the devil in her. We need an exorcist. Oh, Passenger 57 made me respect Wesley and more martial artists and Money Train. That was the thing. Passenger 57 was Wesley's movie because Wesley wanted to do that shit, and that was him trying to showcase the fact that he can do martial arts. That's what it was. Because when he did Demolition Man, people really didn't know. It's like, damn, did he train for that or whatever? No, he had been doing martial arts forever. But that was him getting able to have some control over some shit and do a movie where he was the lead to prove that he could be the action lead. That's why I give Wesley respect. Told you guys, when I like an actor, I've probably seen all of their goddamn movies. For the whole time, they've been fucking acting. I'm not coming to this shit since 2000. I'm not coming to this shit since the 90s. Gotta remember, I'm fucking damn near 50 years old, nigga. There's not a lot of new shit you telling me about this shit. Because I was there at its inception. I wasn't reading about it later. And yes, Money Train was fun. I was thinking about that last week about movie duos that I would like to see doing movies again. And it was basically looking at movies that I can do for a bingeable on a Sunday, right? For a Sunday binge. And for a Sunday binge, I was thinking about it. I said, I would love to see a White Man Can't Jump too. What the fuck would that look like with Wesley Snipes and Woody Harrelson doing a White Man Can't Jump too? Or just a sequel to it, not call it two. Just call it a sequel. What would that look like? Because they old now. Can they have kids and shit like that now? We gonna pull out Rosie Perez too? Teresa Randall? It'd be interesting. I think that'd be interesting. But Money Train too? Yeah, that's what Jennifer Lopez was trying to get her shine acted. Who gave her that shot? Wesley. Because he get down with his folks from New York. He try to put people on. Red and blue bullets. I missed what that comment was about or in reference to. Hey, Hasbro need to sell someone toys. Yeah, they need to, but they won't. My dad used to watch G.I. Joe and wonder why, with all the bullets flying, no one got hit. Because it was a kid's cartoon, Dr. Anwar. I got to put on my old man's right now. It's getting dark. Because there's one episode, right, of the original G.I. Joe cartoon. And it was like their first season premiere episodes. I don't know if it's on the tape or not, but G.I. Joe runs on YouTube nonstop. There's a channel that just plays G.I. Joe cartoons nonstop every day, all day, right? But if you could find this episode, it's one of the early episodes. It's the first season of the episodes. And G.I. Joe storms a Cobra helicarrier, right? They land on that character. G.I. Joe come from one side and they bust it. Cobra on the other side and they bust it. One Cobra trooper gets hit. That was the only time you ever saw somebody get shot. Because it's a cartoon. You can't have people getting killed on the cartoon. As close as they got was the G.I. Joe movie, and he got a snake in his heart, which means, nigga, he got a hole in him, and he's in a coma. Can't die, but you can get a coma. Okay, cool. It's the same thing with the Transformers. All them lasers that Transformers were shooting at each other, you didn't see the motherfuckers dying from that shit until you got Transformers the movie. And the reason you saw them dying in that shit in Transformers the movie, because Transformers the movie is anime. It's fucking anime. It took them 2 years to make it. It was anime. And that's why the motherfuckers was dying. And that's why that shit is still awesome to this day. Like, oh shit. They just killed him. They just killed Cliff Jumper and Ratchet. What the fuck? Yes. Niggas was dying. And it was stakes. Other than that, can't die on a cartoon. Not on that afternoon cartoon show. Oh no, we can't be dying on there. The fuck, you want the moms groups coming up and plop their kid in front of the TV after school and come back? Well, Duke just died. They killed Shipwreck. They'd be calling the fucking company and complaining. They didn't want to hear that shit. It's the old school days. It wasn't no internet, motherfucker. You had to call these companies on the phone. It wasn't trying to have a switchboard blew up like that with one woman sitting in a desk taking calls all day about pissed off mamas about somebody killed one of their cartoon heroes. And they need to fix that shit so they can get this kid to shut up. Nah, homie. That's not how this shit went down back in the day. You go into the cigar lounge. Well, smoke one for me, man. Smoke one for me. I miss cigars, smoking cigars sometimes, but I'm not saying I had to grow up, but you know, people in my family die from cancer, so I tried to limit the amount of cancers I put into my own body. Just saying. But I do enjoy a nice cigar and some good alcohol. So enjoy for me, Dr. Anwar. If you see Charles big ass in that motherfucker too, tell him I say what's up. They were supposed to make a Blade and Underworld crossover. I have never heard that. There's two separate fucking franchises and two separate companies. I don't know nothing about that. You'd have to substantiate that with the article you heard that shit in. Because that Underworld is Kevin Gruvos. He wrote that shit along with Len Weissman, right? And that's a whole different. I think that was is that Legendary or somebody else? But they don't. You don't usually see crossovers with two characters that don't belong in the same universe or not owned by the same studio. You usually never see crossovers like that. That's not how that shit works. I left watching the Hulk and went to watching She-Hulk parody porn. You too, BMT. You and Art, man. Y'all. Just saying. Parody porn. It had a better plot. Yeah, story and plot. Yeah, nobody's looking at the story and the plot in porn. You can just forget that shit. That's like saying you read or used to read Playboy for the articles. No, nigga, you read Playboy to see the spread eagle and to see the centerfold. Just like the motherfuckers that read Jet magazine for the Jet beauty, not for nothing else. Uh, Demolition Man was my all-time favorite Wesley classic of all Snipes classics in the early 2090s. They made masculine movies. Well, that's because that was a that comes out of your Planet Hollywood crew. That was Sylvester Stallone putting Wesley on in that movie to do action because Sylvester Stallone wanted to look for new talents. And he let Wesley show out a bit. So Wesley got to do some of his own shit and use. You can't watch Simon Phoenix and not see Wesley's personality a little bit in it. And I'll give you a perfect example how you can tell. Watch Demolition Man to see how Simon Phoenix acts, right? And then watch this last Coming to America and see how Wesley is acting in that. Some of that is Wesley's personality. He can do goofy shit, but he always got some quick quips. He does. That's just who he is. Or watch Wesley in Rise and Sun with Sean Connery, and you'll see the same thing. It's his personality that comes through. That's what it is. That's what he puts into those characters. That's why I like Wesley Snipes movies, because he always delivers a performance. And yes, I've even seen Tu Wong Fu. But like I said, I'm a child of the 80s, not the 90s. When I saw Duke get shot and blood came out, me and my brother was cut it off. Oh, BMT, you terrible. He didn't get shot. He got a snake in his heart. So Pinto was a motherfucker. Come on, man. So, look, he jumped in front of Falcon. Okay, yeah, you protecting your brother, but that's what happens. got that cobra in the chest. At least he was just in a coma. That was traumatic, dude. That G.I. Joe the movie, that shit was traumatic. Like, oh shit, not Duke. Yes, Duke too. He can go. What? I was kind of fucked up with how they did Cobra Commander. Hurt his ass to a fucking snake. I'm like, oh nigga, what? Why y'all do that? I like Cobra Commander. Cobra Commander was that dude. He was fucking funny. This is what I mean by having a good villain, boy. You didn't want to see Cobra Commander go out like that. Like, yeah, Golobulus, all right, but nah, look, I need Cobra Commander, and I'll take Pythona and Nemesis Enforcer. Yeah, Globulus can go. I like Burgess Meredith. Yeah, he was cool in Clash of the Titans and all that old shit. But nah, I want Cobra Commander. I need my hissing and fucking with Destro and shit. Like, I need that. Fucking thinking he a dummy, but he's smart as shit. Like, I need Cobra Commander, man. Fix that shit. Yeah, see, Dr. Anwar, no, like, yeah, when Duke got snaked, that was rough. Look, I heard this brothers on Double Toasted talking about it today when they were talking about this Werewolf by Night in the intro thing, how it's a retro intro like we used to watch on TV back in the day. They would do that for special events, right? I remember loving G.I. Joe the movie so much because that shit came on at night. When it first aired, it came on at night. And I remember thinking, I was watching it in my bedroom with my younger brother, right? Like, damn, we getting to watch cartoons. It's coming on at night. G.I. Joe's coming on at night. It was a fucking event. I remember distinctly remember that shit, like how great this was. I need to remember this day forever because of that shit. That shit was playing at night. And sure enough, when Duke caught that snake, it was like, oh shit. Nigga, it was like, what's gonna happen? What's the cartoon gonna be after this? They just killed Duke. Dude, it was traumatic. Look, that point in the 80s between G.I. Joe the movie and Transformers the movie, they was fucking with these kids, boy. They had us. Oh my God, they had us. They was introducing some real life stakes in the shit. And then you start really caring about these characters, like, oh no, not Prime, nigga, not Prime. What the fuck did you do? You just killed Prime. No, man. What the fuck is wrong with you? Man, so they had to roll out the new toys. Yeah. Yeah, but here's the thing, Dr. Anwar. Yes, as an adult at this time, and even as a kid at that time, you probably got it. They're rolling out the toys. They have to roll out that next line of toys. They have to progress it, right? I understand it, but how they did it wasn't cheap. Story-wise, it was awesome. And you wanted the new toys. Not because they did some cheap shit, but because the characters now have some stakes. Story-wise, it was succinct. You got why it was happening story-wise. And they introduced a bunch of new characters. Transformers was awesome for that shit. And it took me until I got a little bit older until I really realized it and really thought about it and understand how sales and all the rest of that shit work. Is like, these motherfuckers just killed off all the Gen 1s to give us Gen 2. But that was the way you was going to have to do it. Otherwise, people would just keep bitching at you about give me Gen 1. I don't even think until the point they started killing off those characters, you didn't understand that there was different generations of Transformers. That somebody always has to come up. That's mature storytelling. And knowing how to bring the audience along with you on why this is happening. And it has a real world implication because now we're going to sell you this Rodimus Prime. You're going to get up on this new, look, we can't have a Peterbilt forever. Nostalgia is awesome, but we got to move this shit forward. We need the Cybertronian truck, okay? Now come buy this shit. The Springer and RC. Buy all these motherfuckers. Because I did have a Junkion. I'm just saying. No, my brother had a Junkion because he was spoiled. He got that shit. But I did like Wreck-Gar. That shit was awesome. You wanted to see blood in cartoons, watch anime. Yeah, that's, and BMT, thank you for saying it. That's why anime had such an impact on kids in the fucking 80s. That's why it had such a damn impact. Because anime was real stakes. If you were in America, the only thing you was watching that had real stakes like that was fucking Robotech. If you could get into it because it was slower. But when Roy died, you was like, oh shit. I thought he was the lead. He's the hotshot pilot. That's like killing Maverick in the beginning of the movie and saying, what you gonna do now? You still got this mission though. You just killed Maverick. What you mean we got a mission? Don't everything stop? No. Better figure it out. Yeah, that's why anime in the 80s really grabbed kids, because the cartoons in the 80s started introducing more intelligent storytelling, that they start treating kids like they were young adults and not retarded children. And so they start introducing more complex stories. That's why He-Man and why He-Man, G.I. Joe, Transformers, some other cartoons of that era stand out, because these are the shows that people were actually putting more serious stories in, get people invested in it. And not just, oh, it's just for kids. Fuck it. Not that stupid shit you see nowadays that don't make no sense to nobody. Like, why What do they want? A fucking nation of idiots? Jesus Christ. I wouldn't let my kid watch none of this shit now. Very few. They would be on a strict anime diet. Strict anime diet. Because this other shit is for kids on the spectrum, nigga. Like, can't stop from eating paste and couldn't put a square block in a square hole. Fuck all that. No way in hell you're not gonna dumb down my fucking child. I want oatmeal in his bowl, not in his head. Fuck that. Yeah, Underworld of Screen Gems. Thank you. Not New Line. So no, that wouldn't be a crossover. Yeah, Vampire Hunter D. When I saw Ninja Scroll, Vampire Hunter D was my gateway drugs hardcore into anime. Because I can tell you, Vampire Hunter D, I saw that on a late night on Sci-Fi Channel when they used to have their little anime things. And they had run a lot of animes together. And I watched Vampire Hunter D. And that nigga was killing people and shit. I was like, oh, this is awesome. This is fucking awesome. You also had Aeon Flux around that time with the liquid television on MTV when they was trying to get on that shit where you saw people getting killed. But that was different. It's coming from a different place at that time. Right? But then Ninja Scroll, I think Ninja Scroll was the first one I actually bought on VHS. Because that was the only way you was going to see that shit. Nigga, that shit was off the hook. Wait, this nigga eating pussy? Cutting off his fingers, slicing heads. It was going down. That's why I was so pissed off when I was trying to do that watch party for Ninja Scroll recently, and I couldn't find it anywhere to watch it. I'm like, this is a seminal anime movie. What the fuck? Where is it? No, those movies, especially Akira 2, those were reality shaping. It was. For a geek, that's reality shaping. After those movies came out, you had to be able to define yourself by understanding and watching anime. That's when you saw the first steps of people like SYSBM and they fucking cartoon watching. Like, oh no, I need to watch this Japanese shit. That was the topic of conversation. It wasn't what was going on regular television, because they got down to, like it or not, Jason the Wheel Warriors and just straight up toy store cash grabs cartoons. That was like, oh, fuck all that shit, dude. I need to watch this. You need to be up on this stuff. This shit right here, my nigga. This shit right here. This is where it's at. Yeah. Way back in I'm Bad, the Bad video. Wesley Snipes was in that shit too. And that was when he was early acting, Dr. Anwar. He was. But most of these young motherfuckers wouldn't know that shit. Because they didn't give a fuck about Michael Jackson at that point when it was coming up. They didn't. So they wouldn't know that shit. They don't remember when Michael Jackson would drop a video on MTV and they would shut it down like it's a special event because Michael Jackson released a goddamn movie instead of a music video. He dropped a movie. And they were singing and dancing in it. And then what was left over when it was all over, they trimmed the part with the music and the dancing down, and that became the video you saw. But everything that was happening before and after was the movie he made. Yeah, my boy Zartan. That's one of my all-time favorite G.I. Joes right there, Zartan. That whole shit with him was interesting. Master of Disguise, mercenary, got his own crew, got the dreadnoughts, nigga. He got an accent. He lives in the swamp. He can change colors and shit. Brother got his brothers and his sisters. Zartan was that dude for me. Zartan was the man of mystery. Could be anybody. You never know. You never knew. And Zartan would peace out on Cobra whenever they got fucked up. Like, we out of here. Dreadnoughts. We out this bitch. Looking like the roughest street gang you'd never want to tangle with. Like, straight from the swamp, nigga. And Apollo Creed getting killed by Drago. Yeah. Mask was my shit too, Art of Idmore. So was Brave Star and the Silverhawks. Yeah, the same old standards. Thundercats and Voltron. Yep. See, they say that Voltron, but nobody ever talk about Tranzor Z or Saber Rider and the Star Sheriffs or Galaxy Rangers. I mean, what the fuck? Do I got to put up the commercials? Y'all on YouTube. Look up the commercials for Galaxy Rangers, Ronin Warriors, and shit like that. This is some awesome shit. Awesome cartoons. And Artie Emmore with his boy Bucky O'Hare in the Toad Wars. Yeah. You are Captain Bucky O'Hare, homeboy, because I had forgot all about that shit till you mentioned it, and that had me dying. I was like, I remember watching that shit. My God, I've seen so much stuff. It's ridiculous. It's like I feel like that old dude now when he says like, "I've forgotten more than you know." I have forgotten a lot of shit, and it's not that it's forgotten. It's just when you don't pull up stuff all the time in your memory, it just goes into long-term storage, like your computer. So it takes you a little bit longer to get the recollection back to make the association to pull that memory out. Like, yes, I do remember that show. I watched a lot of episodes of that shit. It just didn't stick the way some of this other stuff did. Nah, bro, today's stuff now is crazy. I'm seeing some little trans stuff in kids' cartoons. Oh, wait a minute, nigga. Kids is off limits to me for that shit. All that sexual deviancy stuff, that's for adults, teenagers and adults. That is nothing that needs to be in young kids' television. I don't give a fuck if it's out there in the world or not. Because even in the 80s, it was people out there having sex with kids and shit like that, and they weren't putting that into our cartoons. Kids stuff should be sacred. They'll get there soon enough. The rest of that shit is for their parents to teach them about, not for you to put in a goddamn cartoon. There ain't no 5-year-old watching cartoons living a trans life. Forget that shit. That'll piss me off, dude. That should have pissed me off. Michael Jackson, Alvin and the Chipmunks dancing. I remember MJ. Remember the time? I think it was slightly moved. The Simpsons from his time. Yeah, Michael Jackson was an event when he dropped the new video. When he started taking long hiatuses and stuff, I think the first one was bad. No, the first one was the Thriller. When he did that movie for the Thriller. The video comes out of the short movie. Because he was getting people like fucking Robert Zemeckis and shit like that to make them things. He was paying money for those. And that's why they dropped them like events, like it was a fucking movie. It was part of a fucking movie. That's why if you ever watch The Moonwalker, it's all that shit fed together. It's one album, all the videos and shit weaved together into this one story, and then they just cut the shit up and release those portions of the movie as videos. Because that's how Michael Jackson thought. He was really imaginative and he liked movies. If Michael Jackson wouldn't have been fucking his face up so much, he could have probably had an acting career. Could have. Because he loved that shit. That's why he was the one since fucking Frank Sinatra, or was it? No, it was Gene Kelly, Grace Kelly? Fred Astaire, excuse me. Since Fred Astaire, where when Michael Jackson danced and stuff like that in videos, you had to shoot him head to toe like you used to do with Fred Astaire. He wanted you to see that he was doing it, all the movements and everything. That translated to fight scenes later on after The Matrix. You see these motherfuckers from head to toe. No quick cuts. No, you see them head to toe. They doing this shit. So that's how you understand who knows what they're doing and who has a stand-in and a stunt double. They don't know what the fuck they're doing. Like Brie Larson with her stunt booty. Yeah, Run Warriors are my shit. Yeah, Wake with Fear, motherfucker. Wake with Fear. Anubis. I use that shit right now on Pokemon. Because I tell you, my dark Pokemon has got 4 legs and look like lions, is black blazed in a motherfucker. Ryu from the Ronin Warriors. See, Art Immore knows something. Moonwalker. Yeah, watch Moonwalker. That shit was awesome. Michael Jackson always wanted to do movies. And that's why he did them the way he could. Prince, too. That's why most of the shit in his vaults is him just making a whole goddamn movie of his own and putting them away somewhere. Yeah, nah. She-Hulk got a CG booty. That's why they don't talk about her ass until she's in She-Hulk form. Because Tatiana Maslany got a little booty. She's slight. She's a small woman. She got a little bit of cake. She got some nice thighs though. That's why I think half the season they must have took a break in between this season or something, because at one point in the show she came back and her thighs was looking thicker. I'm like, nigga, I got a sweet tooth. What the fuck is that? Where'd that come from? Oh well. But let me get out of here. I've been sitting in front of my house in my car. It's hot. It's 82 degrees. I want to get in the house, get out of these work clothes, maybe get some Applejack and apple juice mixed on ice, nigga. Shout out to No One for the drink suggestion. I will be drinking that shit tonight because it is humid, my dude. Humid. Fucking mid. And I want to cool off. Marcus is interviewing not the soft light. Oh, here we go. Keep it 100. Open your package. Nigga, shut up. Tell everybody my business. Tell her to open your package. Ain't even got in the goddamn house. I don't like orders, nigga. I don't take them when I'm off work. I will. Thank you, though. Appreciate it. But fuck you. Bro. Telling people my business. They don't need to know you sent me another package, nigga. You got all them jokes the last time. You want more of them? Stop it. Some stuff don't go out online. Anyway, I'm getting out of here, y'all. Hopefully, you got an hour and 40 minutes of entertainment and conversation. You will actually donate to the channel with that banner that's screaming across the bottom that says $Artisan MC. Drop something in the Negro's cup. Maybe I'll buy something to drink tonight off of it. I won't. I already got Applejack in the house, so I don't need to do that shit. But support your content creators. Support your interests. If you're not interested in supporting, you don't need to be interested in watching the content. Just saying. So, peace out, you guys. I will catch you later. I'm going to get in here and watch this Moon Knight, and maybe if I'm drunk enough, I'll suffer through 2 episodes back to back of Rings of Propaganda so I can get that shit over with too. Catch you guys next time. Peace.